dispossessed, and they want a free kick for offside, and they do belatedly get one.
I think by and large, Tottenham's success is going to come from counter-attacks. I think we'll see that PSG will probably have the majority of the ball. And with that in mind, Tottenham are going to have to rely on their ability to get from back to front quickly. Let's get it right. Tottenham won the Europa League against Man United with less than 30% of the ball.
Here's Barcola, and he's got the ball. Alarm bells will be ringing. But Sarr has done an excellent job tracking back to dispossess. Hammered away by Spence, a bit hurried, and Marquinhos will collect for Paris. Kvaratskhelia. And again. Georgian goes back to Doué, who's popped across to Barcola. And it's popped out of play. Thomas Frank said, yes, this is a big ask for his side, but his brain tells him that this is an opportunity to embrace against Luis Enrique's All-Stars rather than a challenge to be cowed by. And when he was in charge of Brentford during those 7 years in West London, he certainly enjoyed a challenge and upsetting the elite. Flag is up. So Enrique, having been a Champions League winner with Barcelona back in 2015, became only the 7th coach to lift the trophy with multiple sides after that fine night in Munich against Inter.
What a season for PSG, the treble, best season in the club's history. Tottenham's last season was a little bit more troubled. Yes, they won the Europa League, but had domestic troubles.
Kudus trying to provide some troubles for William Pacho there, but unable to do so as it goes behind. His last piece of competitive action was not a pleasant one for William Pacho, sent off in the Club World Cup quarter-final win against Bayern for a nasty studs-up challenge. How Paulinho was actually part of the Bayern squad for that game, but didn't get on the pitch. A bit sloppy, and so was the challenge. Luis Enrique not happy with his side there.
Well, generally it has been a bit sloppy from PSG. It's not quite in tune. Taking the time once more, Tottenham, making sure everyone's in the right position.
Set piece is something that they have been working on. They've been keeping a lot of them up their sleeve, though. They didn't want to show their hand during the pre-season friendlies. It's the first really decent position that they've had a free kick in.
And they've overloaded the back post.
Porro bangs it in, and the header is over the top. Look at Chevalier coming into the side for Luis Enrique, who just said he wanted a different profile of goalkeeper. That's why Gianluigi Donnarumma, who did such a good job for them last season, some massive saves during their Champions League triumph, is perhaps on his way to the Premier League, if you believe what you read. But Chevalier was actually named the Liga goalkeeper of the season, so not as if they're getting a downgrade when it comes to saving the ball either.
No, it's a big call, isn't it, from Luis Enrique. Donnarumma, as you say, appears to be on his way out of the club. I think he wants his goalkeeper to be an extra outfield player in possession. And Chevalier has certainly got that ability on the ball. Long and short range of passing.
Zaire Emery. Dembele.
He's looked the sharpest of the PSG players so far.
And that's a sharp pass to Zaire Emery. Whipped across towards Nuno Mendes. It was read by Pedro Porro. Vitinha took a risk and Kudus has picked his pocket. Romero. Richarlison. Held off William Pacho really well. Bentancur picks it up now. Van de Ven on the charge. Haven't seen one of his gallivanting runs yet. And that's a useful pass for Jed Spence. He got the wrong side of Hakimi. Not many people can boast that. Van de Ven. And another wild cross from a useful area sees the opportunity go begging for Tottenham.
Started well, Tottenham, half a yard quicker than PSG. We felt that might be the difference.
Similar to that Europa League final, Tottenham have had possession pretty limited, just around 35% of it thus far.
They've done a pretty good job without the ball though. Been a good structure to them. I think one of the benefits of having, say, a Van de Ven in the team, you can go one man for man at the back, and then you can push players further forward to try and win the ball back higher up the pitch.
Well, they were beaten pretty heavily by Chelsea in the final of the Club World Cup. It's worth remembering in the United States over the summer, Paris did see off Atletico, Bayern and Real Madrid, 10 goals bagged across those 3 games without conceding either. To continue what, as you were saying, Matt, has been an extraordinary campaign for them. Barcola racing after this. Pass was made to measure. Barcola's ball in. And slightly sloppy from Desiree Doué, which you don't say too often. Kudus just leaving a little in on Vitinha there and receiving a telling off from João Pinheiro.
The initial break from Paris was once again orchestrated by Dembele. His positioning is causing Tottenham problems.
Coming from West Ham over the summer, Mohamed Kudus, he endeared himself to the Spurs fans by immediately saying that it was only ever Tottenham that he wanted to move to. And they've been warmed further by his showing in pre-season. Richarlison's won that back and has found Mohamed Kudus, who rode the challenge from Doué. And is looking for Richarlison here, who might take it early! And Chevalier gets a hand to it, and he needed to.
That's terrific play from Tottenham. Excellent work to win the ball back initially. Richarlison nabbing it from Dembele. And then Kudus has got that individual ability to drive past 2 or 3 Paris players before linking up with Richarlison. That link-up play between those two has been good so far. They play close together. First time we've seen Chevalier tested.
Well, we've seen Spurs with a long throw, a free kick routine, and now what have they got up their sleeve from this corner kick? Kudus takes, and at the back post, Bentancur arriving, should really have done better.
Well, the delivery from Tottenham so far hasn't been perfect, but this one's on the money. Perhaps jumped a fraction early, Bentancur. They do miss the delivery of a James Maddison with him out the side. And with set pieces being so important, they are going to miss that quality on the ball.
It's interesting because Bentancur's developed a bit of a reputation for being a threat from set pieces, but generally with near post headers from corners, and that time he was arriving late at the far stick and nearly did some damage. So perhaps Thomas Frank just tweaking some of the weapons that he already had at his disposal. Well, given the temperatures here in Udine, the players will take a cooling break now as we hit the midway point of the first half. And it's been a half so far that Spurs will probably feel the more positive about.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And we've been in Udine now for a couple of days, and a lot of the Spurs fans that we've met were fearful about this game because of the quality that PSG possess. But they've settled well in this one. And Richarlison testing Chevalier. So far, that link-up play between Kudus and Richarlison has been very good. It took a little nick actually off Pacho, which made it a more difficult save.
Five goals in 24 games for Tottenham last season in what was a disrupted campaign due to injury. We scored one of their Europa League goals, a penalty in the league phase against AZ, and he's had the clearest sight of goal in the Super Cup. Pacho for Marquinhos. This is Vitinha.
You know, I was saying about one of the centre-backs for Spurs going in tight on Dembele. That's what Romero's just done. Romero's followed him all the way. Dembele's in the right-back position almost, and Romero followed him all the way.
Porro through the legs nicely, and Danso nearly did the same against Pacho. Tottenham throw. Well, I think it's clear to see that Danso has won the long throw audition, given that he will also hurl this one in. There's good distance on it from Danso. Kimi was underneath it. Danso collects again. Kudus couldn't get there ahead of Marquinhos. Bentancur for Tottenham Hotspur, back, all the way back to Vicario. Porro used his body intelligently there, and now wants a free kick for having his body tugged. Chevalier. Kept him well by Barcola. And that's, I guess, what Luis Enrique wants to see from his new goalkeeper.
Yeah, he applauded that pass out because he was under real pressure, wasn't he, Chevalier? Took a touch just out of his feet and managed to find a Paris player.
Hakimi. Zaire Emery. Collected by Dembele and quickly releasing Barcola. Three Paris players make their way into the middle. Still Barcola for now. And Spurs scrambled enough bodies back to block the route to goal, with Pape Matar diverting it behind.
Paris have struggled to find their usual fluency, but there's been glimpses, there's been moments, and this is another one. Every time Dembele gets the ball, Barcola's looking to stretch that Spurs back line and get him behind them. Once again, Dembele finds him. Spurs get numbers back to clear the danger on this occasion.
21 goals for Barcola last season, best scoring season of his career. He only managed 12 senior goals in total prior to last season, so that is quite the improvement. And his industry has earned Paris this corner kick. Vicario has a couple of Paris players for company. The ball is nowhere near the 6-yard box. Maybe Paris need to take a leaf out of Tottenham's book and do a bit more work on set pieces. Charleston, beautifully done. Porro's in a lot of space here. Charleston charging up there. Pat Matassar's pretty fuming that he made a run out to the left and Porro delayed the pass. And now Porro's given the ball away too. Marquinhos got away with that one.
He's good on the ball though, Marquinhos. He does develop play brilliantly from the back, breaks lines.
Chevalier. Pacho able to advance to just shy of halfway. Desiree Doué. Clipped by Richarlison. Not many players take a record off Eusebio, but that's what Desiree Doué did in the Champions League final. Youngest player to score 2 or more goals in either a European Cup or Champions League showpiece. 19 years, 362 days. It's now the ripe old age of 20. Skellier caught his heels there. That's overhit by Sarr. A few more mistakes creeping in from both sets of players. Doué. Skellier. Real coming together there as Zaire-Emery lost out, now trying to make amends, but can't take the ball back. It's Pedro Porro who swings it across to Kudus. Spence is up there. That's a really good race which he's won, and Spence's ball in, dealt with by Vitinha. Well, Hakimi looked favourite there, but somehow Jed Spence came out on top. And Tottenham now feel that the momentum is with them. Bentancur. Danso. Porro. Useful looking ball. Marquinhos' touch not great. Kudus onto it. Richarlison scrapping. And Paris wobbling.
Marquinhos' touch wasn't great, but his block was brilliant. Made amends for his error. I'm going to say Tottenham's system is working well, particularly when they win the ball and turn it over. They've got plenty of runners forward. Both Spence and Porro from that back position are more than keen to join up in the attack when they win it back. The counter-attacking has been very good from them.
Zaire-Emery for Kvaratskhelia. Hakimi. Vitinha. Doué. Hakimi. Kvaratskhelia. Oof. Cario with safe hands. Porro. Kudus backs himself to see off Doué. Spence. Oh, a bit telegraphed. Zaire-Emery was onto it. Spence has won it back. Cario finds Porro. Porro finds himself in trouble. Danso will keep it in. Porro straight down the throat of Marquinhos. Achraf Hakimi. Dembele. Nuno Mendes.
No real urgency from Tottenham to press Paris.
Dembele. That's clumsy. There's no free kick. I think Tottenham were expecting one. Dembele now looking to release Hakimi, but Spence had the pace and the awareness. Vitinha. Kvaratskhelia running at Spence and getting it through the legs of his, and then the ball broke to a man that you expect a lot more from, Ousmane Dembele, with a wild lash.
Maybe had time to have a touch. When that ball comes back to him, he's maybe got time just to have a touch. No Spurs player around him. This was the block from Marquinhos. His touch was a poor one, but the block absolutely terrific. That was on target. That was travelling.
Vicario for Kudus. William Pacho's come a fair distance to nick it off him. Bentancur surging forwards. Well, for all the huff and puff so far, just the one attempt on target, that strike from Richarlison that Chevalier dealt with well. Doué. Hakimi. Now Vitinha. Doué for Kvaratskhelia, pushing and probing more down this right-hand side than the left. That ball has come for Zaire Emery. His touch wasn't ideal. Here's Hakimi, and that will be a Paris throw.
He's a regular goal scorer, Hakimi. Double figures last season from right back. Loves to bomb forward. Often see him making those inverted runs as well, don't you? Getting himself into the box. Haven't seen too much of that so far.
There's a game of double bluff there between Bentancur and Nuno Mendes, and the Spurs man won it. Kudus, good strength. I said that was a battle to keep an eye out for, and it's a little victory there for Mohamed Kudus against Nuno Mendes.
It's been excellent so far, Mohamed Kudus. Relieving pressure, taking responsibility, getting on the ball and getting his team up the pitch. His work rate without the ball has been good. I know that Thomas Frank and the Tottenham supporters have been very impressed with his work in pre-season.
He's on the Ballon d'Or list, Nuno Mendes, seen by a lot as the best left-back in the world, so Mohamed Kudus relishing the challenge and doing a good job against him so far, as are Spurs against the Champions League winners. Long diagonal from Vicario, and it's bouncing dangerously in off the bar and in! Spurs in front! Mickey van der Ven was quickest to react, and Tottenham Hotspur have the lead against all-conquering Paris Saint-Germain.
Well, with Thomas Frank, it's all about the details. We've talked about how extensively he's worked on set pieces throughout pre-season. Again, they take their time, they're structured, they win the first header, they keep it alive, And it falls kindly to Van de Ven. 5-6 yards out. Makes no mistake. It's a terrific finish from Mickey Van de Ven. It's Palhinha with the initial effort. Chevalier makes an excellent save, but it falls kindly to Van de Ven. Delight Thomas Frank and his coaching staff. And no surprise, it's a set piece that puts Tottenham ahead.
His first ever goal in European football, and his first goal in well over a year, full stop. May 2024, the last time that he had managed to net one.
They're checking the goal, but it's been given. I guess the initial ball in, was he offside or not? And the answer is no.
Lift off for Thomas Frank and Tottenham Hotspur under the Danes' guidance then. Van de Ven serenaded by the Spurs fans after a finish from the centre half that any centre forward would have been proud of. Kvaratskhelia. Marquinhos. Paris's feathers ruffled by Tottenham Hotspur then, who have been competitive and in the faces of the European champions. And now, under the tutelage of a man who made set pieces such a piece of his team's armoury at Brentford, a dead ball delivery has helped to get Tottenham Hotspur in front in Udine.
I think we'd all agree there's a disparity in quality between the two sides. Paris have been off it, not as sharp as we've come to expect as a result of being back only a week. Tottenham have been at it, they've been structured.
Barcola, oh, he's got away from Porro brilliantly, but can't find a teammate. And again, Tottenham had enough numbers back to divert the danger. Coutinho goes short to Dembele. Doué, it's deflected, and it will be another Paris Saint-Germain corner. A bit more urgency about Paris since falling behind. Dembele. Doué looking for the return to Dembele, and Richarlison will let that roll out. Had the number over English sides all the way through the Champions League last season, Paris, but beaten in the Club World Cup final by Chelsea, and now trailing Tottenham Hotspur in the Super Cup with a couple of minutes to go until the interval. Kudus. Porro. Richarlison was offside. Play will go on for now. Kudus. He's got the beating of Pacho, and he's got the ball in towards Spence. Bentancur. It'll be a Tottenham ball. Another long one from Danso. Kvaratskhelia underneath it. Danso for Spence, who chants his arm. Deflection from Doué. He's actually seen it go the way of Danso, and then in and off the post. And Paris survive, although the flag is now raised, so it may not have counted had it been a couple of inches to the right anyway.
And Tottenham have been sharp. Any loose ball. It's a white shirt that's been on the end of it.
There won't be much time left in the half now, with a minimum of a minute signalled. Barcola. Immediately nibbled at by Danso. Tottenham Hotspur have the advantage at the interval. Mickey van der Ven's first European goal, and first goal in over a year after a narrow offside check, is the difference between the two sides. He reacted quickest after Chevalier's parry came off the bar to slide in and send Tottenham Hotspur in at the interval in Udine, ahead by 1-0 against Paris Saint-Germain. The Europa League winners